welcome to all of our guests. We're very thankful for you. Appreciate you joining us this morning. In 1954, President Dwight D. Eisenhower signed a bill proclaiming November 11th as Veterans Day and called upon Americans everywhere to rededicate themselves to peace. Today's assembly is to honor veterans. When Francis Scott Key wrote the Star-Spangled Banner in 1814, he called America the land of liberty and the home of the brave. Those words are as true today as they were then. Throughout this nation's history, Americans have bravely answered the call to defend our freedom, to aid our friends and allies, and to turn back aggressors. We can never fully repay our debt of gratitude to the more than 650,000 American service members who died in battle, or the 1.4 million who were wounded. We can, however, recognize and thank the 25 million veterans still living today. At this time, I would like to introduce Lieutenant Colonel Jason Caldwell.
How we doing, Graves County? All right. In keeping with the nation's theme of 2018 being the year of the woman, we have decided to dedicate our ceremony to the female soldiers, sailors, Marines, and airmen who have served our country in uniform. Honestly, for me, the excitement and the media coverage for women seeking leadership roles in our country in 2018 really wasn't new to me. In my thoughts, it wasn't new to me. I served 26 years in the Army before I moved here to Graves County. And in those 26 years, I always had great soldiers that worked for me. I had great peers that were beside me and had great leaders that were above me. And guess what? A lot of them were females. So it wasn't nothing new to me to see female leaders doing great things. It wasn't how well a person looked in uniform or how well they addressed each other. It was how well could they do their job. We didn't care the color of their skin, their gender. Could I trust them? Could I trust him or her? And could they do the job well? If so, the good thing about the military, they'd move up in rank and take on more responsibility as leaders. Since our founding of the nation, there's been women serving in our military in some capacity. Even George Washington's army had a female in his ranks. He didn't realize it for a year. She disguised herself as a man until she was wounded. Then they figured out this is not a man, this is a woman. But her dedication, her love for her country put her in those ranks. And it's only grown since then. In World War I, for example, over 33,000 females joined as nurses and support staff. In World War II, almost 400,000 served in World War II. In 1975, President Ford signed Public Law 94-106 permitting women to serve in U.S. military academies as students for the first time. Hundreds joined that year at the West Point. Hundreds joined at the Air Force Academy and graduated and became leaders in their service. In 2013, Defense Secretary Leon Panetta announced that all military positions would be open to females by 2016. In 2015, First Lieutenant Haver and Captain Grest earned their Ranger tabs, becoming the first two women to successfully complete the U.S. Army Ranger School at Fort Benning, Georgia. Leon Panetta committed and permitted all women to apply for combat positions in the beginning of January 1st, 2016. This shift opened the opportunity for women to fill 220,000 military combat jobs. With the increased roles and responsibilities come more dangerous roles to support our nation's call of duty. Over 200 females have been killed in action during operations in Iraq and Afghanistan since they started. One of the 200 was a soldier in my unit, Sergeant Amanda Pinson, was killed on 16 March 2006 as a result of enemy rocket fire. On a more positive note, this year, Graves County JRTC program, our top 2 cadets happened to both be female. The deputy commander, and you guys stand up, please. The deputy commander is Abby Emerson, and the commanding officer and top cadet is Tori Dorn. And they weren't given these positions, they earned these positions. And every cadet knows that. So proud of you guys, and they're doing a great job as leading the program this year. Also, this year at Graves County High School, JRTC, our level 1 cadets, that's not just freshmen, but sometimes a senior will come in as a level 1. We have more level 1 cadets that are female this year than we do male. And that's never even been close before. I'm not sure what the reason is, but it's a great thing that's happened, that our females outnumber our males in their level 1 class. At this time, please rise as our 5 level 1 female present the colors of our nation. On the rifles, Cadet Gracie Akery and Zoe Kelly. Carrying the battalion colors is Cabrina Draffin. Carrying the Kentucky state flag is Josie Powell. And commanding the color guard and carrying our nation's colors is Cadet Chloe Bell.
With music composed by Samuel Ward and lyrics written by Catherine Lee Bates, America the Beautiful has been frequently called upon to serve as companion to the Star-Spangled Banner as an honorary national anthem. The GCHS choir, under the direction of Mr. Mason Rice, will now perform America the Beautiful.
Say
Originally released by country artist Lee Greenwood in 1984, God Bless the USA has become one of the most popular patriotic songs of all time. Expressing a profound appreciation for our nation and our blessings, the song should cause us all to reflect upon the pride we feel as Americans. The GCHS Jazz Band, under the direction of Mr. Richard Burchett, will now perform God Bless the USA.
Good morning. My name is Tori Dorn, and I'll be introducing our guest speaker. Olivia E. Brandon joined the United States Marine Corps in August 2001. In November, she graduated boot camp where she was meritoriously promoted to E2 for her performance as squad leader. During her military occupational training in North Carolina, she graduated as the guide, allowing her first choice in duty stations. She embarked to her first duty station in Kanohi Bay, Hawaii, where she was soon meritoriously promoted to E3 as Marine of the Quarter. During her tour to Hawaii, she was promoted to Corporal, where she also won the award for Corporal of the Quarter. Corporal Brandon transferred to the 1st Marine Division in Camp Pendleton, California for her reenlistment. She soon was promoted to Sergeant. During her time with the 1st Marine Logistics Group, she deployed to Iraq in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom. In February 2007, she returned from deployment, having served in several locations, including Camp Fallujah, Camp Takadum, and Al Asad Air Base. Upon her return, she was offered a permanent change of station to the 15th Marine Expeditionary Unit, based out of Camp Pendleton, California. The unit was getting ready for a sea-based Marine Air-Ground Task Force, deployment capable of conducting amphibious operations. After completing a rigorous 6-month workup cycle, the 15th MEU was ready to once again set sail into the Pacific. Leaving in May 2008, Sergeant Brandon took to Singapore, United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, and Sydney. While on ship, she was the colonel's cook. On land, Sergeant Brandon was attached to an EOD unit, conducting valuable bilateral training with the nation of Kuwait, participating in large-scale training exercise known as Eager Mace. Additionally, Sergeant Brandon was part of the EOD team, traveled to Jordan to participate in another training exercise known as Infinite Moonlight. Upon her return from her second deployment, Sergeant Brandon decided not to re-enlist in the Marine Corps and pursue her Bachelor's of Science in Psychology full-time. Since then, she has proudly chosen to join the Kentucky National Guard and serve her country and her community, while still managing a healthy family social life. Please welcome Sergeant Brandon.
There's a big crowd. I want to thank Colonel Caldwell for inviting me. I want to thank all of you, Graves Eagles, for having me here. It is a pleasure and it is an honor. Before I start, I'd like to ask if there is anyone in the crowd who has served before, who is a veteran. Please stand up. Thank you. And I want to personally thank you for your service. Because of you, it is the reason that I am here today. I want to thank all of you for being here, the rest of you, because without your support, we wouldn't be here either. It is an exchange of service that we give each other, and I just really want to thank you for supporting our troops every day, not just today. I want to start with a quote that says, "A nation reveals itself not only by the men it produces, but also by the men that it honors, the men it remembers." A quote by John F. Kennedy. I also want to say that even though we are kind of highlighting women in the service, I want to say that there is a joke in the military that says, "There is no color, there is no gender, you're all green, and you will all be treated just as badly." Veterans Day is a day to remember those who have served and are still serving. We remember those brave men and women who have served in places as Gettysburg, Shiloh, San Juan Hill, the trenches of France, the Argonne Forest, the beaches of Normandy, the deserts of Africa, the cane fields of the Philippines, the rice paddies, and the jungles of Guam, Japan, Okinawa, Korea, and Vietnam, and in the places like Panama, Somalia, Haiti, Iraq, and Afghanistan. We remember those who are part of our history and those who are presently serving to protect our future. Being a service member was never an easy job, but the troops in today's all-volunteer military chose to serve a cause greater than themselves. Many made this decision knowing they may be sent in harm's way. For the better part of a decade, they have endured multiple tours, protecting us from danger and giving others the opportunity to live life in security. For more than a decade, our military has proven itself in two of the most difficult environments this nation has ever faced, and our leaders at every level have displayed unparalleled ingenuity, flexibility, and adaptability. Today, our world is a different place because of the sacrifices made by Kentuckians and every service member. Men and women from every corner of the Commonwealth have been deployed to the Middle East as part of the world's global war on terror. But our job isn't done. Though we have been resilient in meeting the challenges of war, we must prepare for the challenges of the decades to come. On Veterans Day, please think about the 1.3 million men and women who are in uniform today, who are part of the greatest generation, you. These men and women live by a professional culture that asserts we will never accept defeat. I think about a war-scarred sergeant learning to use a prosthetic hand, or a colonel who returned from Iraq learning to use prosthetic legs, or a young warrant officer learning to live without eyesight. I think about a lone sentinel standing watch at the tomb of the unknown soldier during a hurricane. Many veterans like these do these remarkable things every single day. These troops don't see themselves as being brave. They don't think they're special. They just think they're doing their job. Many of our Kentucky National Guard have deployed multiple times, and many who were injured during these deployments still want to go back. It is not a sense of revenge, but a sense of teamwork and a sense of duty. They fight for our security in an unsecured world because that's what they promised they would do. Our way of life depends on the willingness of its finest men and women to step forward and serve, to dedicate themselves to a greater cause. For more than 2 centuries, the veterans of our nation have been willing to serve and sacrifice for our country and a cause they love more than their own lives. This has not changed. Our soldiers, our sailors, airmen, Marines, and even the Coast Guard have served with honor, and so have their family members. At this moment, I'd like to take a few seconds to thank the family members who are often not mentioned, and it is one of the hardest jobs that anyone could endure. If you're a family member of a veteran, please stand. I am proud to be in the Kentucky National Guard. As a leader within the Guard, I'm also proud because our Guard, with unflinching resolve and disregard for their own safety, carried on a tradition of loyalty, bravery, and duty that has become the badge of honor for Kentuckians throughout our nation's history. On this Veterans Day, I ask you to not just utter the words "thank you" to veterans. I ask you to please live a full life and enjoy the freedoms these veterans have fought for. Hold your head up high. Hold your head up high. And when asked to, please stand forward with pride and honor to serve. Thank you for your time. God bless you. God bless our troops, our families, and God bless America. Thank you all.
Thank you, Sergeant Brandon. To further honor the brave men and women who served and are now serving in the military, the Graves County High School Orchestra, under the direction of Dr. Laura Hill, will perform the Reap the Blessings of Freedom. This medley includes the official hymns of the Navy and Coast Guard, the Air Force, the Marines, and the Army. As each hymn is played, please stand if you served or if you have active or veteran family members in that branch. United States Navy and Coast Guard. United States Air Force. United States Marines. United States Army. Thank you all for your service.
James Swearingen composed Lest We Forget in honor of his hero, his father. Bruce Swearingen, like many other American patriots, served his country with dignity, honor, and without expectation of fanfare or glory. He was a soldier in the United States Army in World War II. In 1944, after the Allied forces liberated France from German occupation, his father's job was to go in and disarm bombs that had failed to detonate during previous air attacks. The imminent danger of this assignment was heightened when, after being specifically trained to work on German and Japanese armament, the bombs were, in reality, those dropped by American and British pilots during the reclaiming of France. In the private moments, when the composer would thank his father for his courage and valor, he simply replied, "I was just doing my job." While Veterans Day is primarily a tribute to our country's living veterans, and Memorial Day is typically a tribute for troops that have fallen, it is always appropriate to include a moment of silence in respect for those who gave their lives for our country. The bugle call of taps began as a signal for lights out at the end of the day. However, the playing of taps continues to be part of military funerals and memorial ceremonies. The concert band will now perform "Lest We Forget." In the middle of the piece, the band will stop and taps will be played. Please stand at that time and honor our veterans who have made the ultimate sacrifice. I'd like to say one more thank you to all of our veterans and guests for joining us today, and thank you very much for your service to our country. Let's give them one more big round of applause. For this assembly to happen, we also need to say thank you to our junior ROTC. Y'all did an excellent job in your performance today, so thank you very much. And also, how about the fine work from our performing arts students and teachers? And finally, students, I appreciate your attention during this assembly. At this time, we are going to dismiss the second block. Let's have a good rest of the day.